For this video, I have given myself a massive and challenging undertaking. I have decided that I am going to rank Black Ops 6 maps. You might ask yourself, who is this guy to rank Black Ops 6 maps? Well, I'm definitely underqualified to make this video, but who cares? We're gonna have fun anyway. But make no mistake, I took this ranking process very serious. Every single map has gone through rigorous testing and analysis. Each map has been ranked using a very sophisticated ranking system. All jokes aside, I'm going to take you through my actual ranking system. But before we do that, can you guess which map I ranked to be the worst map of Black Ops 6? I'll give you a hint to make it fair. It was a map released in Season 1. It's a small map. What is a valuable object passed down from generation to generation? Now that hint might have made it a little bit too easy, but I ran out of hints. Let me know what you think down in the comment section. Here is the actual ranking system that I used. I decided to use the following 4 categories with a 5-star rating for each. But that got me thinking, how will I give one map 5 stars but another map 1 star? I needed something to make it more simple for me and also to remain consistent and as unbiased as possible. So I wrote down a few questions per category to help me establish my rating more accurately. If all the questions have a positive answer, I can give a 5-star rating for that category. If a question has a negative answer, I can obviously not give it a perfect score. However, during the ranking system, some maps got an equal score. They had different ratings in different categories, but it came out to the same total number. What I had to do then is make a personal decision to which map I would rather play if they were the 2 or 3 given options. Let's just briefly go through some questions so you can better understand my reasoning as we go along. We are going to look at the strategic factor and its questions. Is it pure chaos, strategic, or does it have a good balance? Let's look at the map Stakeout, for example, where it's very much chaos and very little strategy. I believe a good map is a map where it has a good balance between chaos and strategy to help you win. Is there a place for cover, healing and reloading? Or is it just a big open map where snipers can easily take you out if you're trying to go from building to building? Does it accommodate all game modes? Again, if we look at Stakeout, it feels like if you play domination on this map that there is very little space and it feels like the zones are overlapping. This is a very fast-paced map that is very chaotic, so game modes like Hardpoint or Domination simply feels forced. How predictable is the map? Again, a map like Stakeout, for example, it is very predictable, but with the overlapping and overwhelming chaos, even if you do get a good read on this map, you will find yourself dying very often. So that is just a basic understanding of the category and the questions in each category to help us make sense of the ratings of each map. I just want to make one thing clear. This video is for entertainment purposes, and of course you will all have different opinions than mine. Some of you will even think I'm crazy, and that's okay. If you prefer one map over another, let's talk about it in the comment section. Please remember to just keep your comments respectful. I will not allow any disrespectful and ugly comments on this channel. Since there's at least 32 maps in this game and I'll only be ranking the top 10 maps, I decided to group the maps into 3 groups. The worst maps, the middle maps, and then the top 10 maps. I will briefly explain why the maps outside the top 10 placed where they placed. Let's start with the worst maps, the ones outside of the top 21, and then I'll share with you the worst map of Black Ops 6. The following maps just didn't make the cut for a few reasons. No creativity from the designers, they were flat, boring, monotonous, lacked strategic options and overall depth. It had limited routes, and when you're up against some really good players, you're left with no strategic options to overcome your opponents. They are either too small or too big, complete in utter chaos, with no strategic element whatsoever or very limited strategic elements. Or they are fun for a bit of time, but they get really boring quickly. These maps are, in no particular order, Red Card, Stakeout, Bullet, Lifeline, Heirloom, Extraction, Pit, Racket, Fugitive, Warhead, and Signal. Now I am sure some of you will already disagree with me, and that's okay. There are a ton of maps to rank, and according to my ranking system, some just didn't make the cut. However, the award for the absolute worst maps of Black Ops 6 has to be mentioned. I chose this map based on the following reasons. Let's see how many of you guessed correctly. This map was hard to judge. Is calling it an abomination too harsh? Because whenever I play this map, that's what it feels like. Somehow this is a sniper's paradise. Nowhere is safe. The design doesn't make any sense. You have a big open piece with an artwork thrown in the middle. If a sniper doesn't get you, someone with a random rocket will. I think it took no time to make this map. The creators just threw something together. And all the cool parts of this map is actually found on the outskirts of this map where very limited gameplay actually happens. I think I enjoyed playing this map once, and after that it's just been a complete drag. So there you have the worst maps in Black Ops 6. I have to feel sorry for Pit though. It is quite a fun map to play, and for such a small map it has decent play areas and cover. But I do feel like something is missing that would make this map a really good map. It's a fast-paced map that reminds me of Racket. However, it offers slightly more dimensions of play. There's more space for cover, it's underground and a bit more creative in its design. It also suits different game modes better than Racket. The following maps have all placed in the top 21, and I will briefly go through each map and their rating. These maps have all scored between 11 and 14 across the 4 categories. The maximum rating that each map can get is 20, and without trying to ruin it for you, looking at all the maps, the highest rating was 16. So even though the following maps missed out on the top 10, it was still extremely close, and a lot of them actually scored equal points. Starting from the lowest rating, we have Hacienda on 10. I know this is a popular map and a lot of you will probably disagree with me on its ranking, but hear me out why I ranked it this way. This map is quite large and loads of areas are just wasted space. The gunfights never happen around these areas, no matter what game modes you are playing. It's just a very large square map, and people who really know the spawns can easily predict the enemy routes. Then we have Nuketown, Nomad and Gala all on 11. Nuketown is an iconic map and has a good balance between chaos and strategy. However, it can get a bit chaotic at times. What brings this map down is it lacks strategic factor and options. If you face a good team who are controlling certain areas of the map well, then it's over. Nomad is a cool map to play, but it definitely favors snipers and assault rifles. It's not a bad map, but it's not a great map. It has a bit more of a war vibe compared to Nuketown's paintball theme vibe. It would have probably been a better map if it wasn't so AR and sniper focused. Gala is a cool map, but if you look deeper, it's just a square map with some cover in the middle and some cover on the side. It's a pretty flat map overall. The map is quite fun, but purely because Black Ops 6 doesn't overplay this map like some other maps. Rewind and Dealership have similar elements and both scored a 12 rating. A solid 3 stars in all 4 categories. These are good maps, not great maps. They're not crazy fun and they are not crazy boring. The next few maps all scored pretty solid with some decent ratings. Babylon, Derelict and Shutdown. Babylon is an interesting one since once again it's quite a small and yet again square map. Although it's not a map with many features, it does remain a fun and challenging map. It gets a good rating because it supports multiple playstyles and weapons. It's also a map where every single area is being used and being used constantly. It's a small square map, but it offers a lot in terms of action, playstyles and strategy. Shutdown is also a good map and offers different layers to it. There are, however, some areas that are nice but not being used as much. It also leans more towards assault rifles and snipers, but I've had some great success using SMGs. Derelict gets a decent score although it is a flat map. It has plenty of different running routes, cover, strategic options, and suits multiple playstyles and game modes. It doesn't feel like a map that's just been thrown together. Scud and Bounty is definitely our 11th and 12th place on the rankings. Bounty favors all kinds of playstyles and weapons. Strategic options can be limited at times with its few ways to navigate through the map, but it offers plenty of areas that will get plenty of action. I want to spend more time explaining Scud and why it narrowly misses the top 10, and then I will go into more detail with each map in the top 10. In my opinion, Scud isn't a bad map. It's one of the few maps that remind me of a war scene instead of merely a cool paintball park. I like that the map suits various playstyles and gun selections. You can play with an AR, SMG and sniper. It offers various running routes, but I do feel like they could have added an underground tunnel or added a second floor to the bombed building. Can you imagine how cool it would be to have an upper floor to this area? It would add such an excitement factor to it and give the map more layers. If they added a few things to this map, I can easily see it in the top 3. So we've made it to the top 10. How am I doing so far? Again, I just want to remind you this video is for entertainment and I'm just a beginner giving you feedback from a beginner's point of view. I'm sure all the professionals will have many different opinions which are much more valuable, but I'm making this video for fellow gamers like me. From 10th to 7th place we have 4 maps with a score of 14. So I tried to look at these maps overall and directly compare them to each other. I asked myself, can I really place Payback above Subsonic as the better map? Which map has more to offer than the other? And I had to do this with all the maps that scored an equal rating. And so in 10th place we have Barrage. Barrage reminds me of Scud with its war theme, but the reason I gave Barrage the nod over Scud is because in Barrage you end up using a lot more of the map than Scud. I gave Barrage a 4 in creativity and layout since it has a nice theme. It's not just another square map with random things for cover. It has a few high spots where you can challenge opponents from, and if you're on the ground, you can still challenge these high spots. It offers plenty of different routes and angles. It's a map that makes sense. It's not so small that you respawn and die, and not so big that it takes you ages to reach the action. Fun factor and strategic factor gets a 3 since it's a map where you can try out different strategies and spend some time on learning the map and improving your skills. It has a good balance between chaos and strategy. I gave it a 4 in its dimensions since it accommodates all game modes, playstyles and weapon selection. It has multiple layers to it and the layout actually makes sense. For a small and square map, it's packed with multiple layers and areas of gameplay. Wherever you go, you can find an area of action. It has a good amount of jump spots and dive spots to make some very epic kills. Small maps can often be too chaotic, but this map offers good strategic depth. If you are good at reading spawns, it can become quite a predictable map. That's why I'm not giving it a full 5 stars for layout. The other reason is that this map has an underground level in campaign mode. Adding some of that to the map could have perhaps given it a bit more depth. But now the running routes can be a bit limited. It's a map more suited for SMGs. It could have gotten a 4 as this map has good potential. Fun factor and strategic depth is both a 4. Even facing good opponents, you can still win in domination or hardpoint by playing different routes and playing smart. Even though it is scored the same as Subsonic and Skyline, I don't think we can put them on exactly the same level. Honestly, the next 2 maps can flip places and I would have no issue with it. And it is Subsonic and Skyline. Both maps are good for various different playstyles with no added favor to any weapon. I've leveled up SMGs and ARs on both of these maps. Even though Subsonic is roughly another square map, it does offer varying elements. It has good cover, it has a good number of elements like a crash jet outside, a parked jet inside, big craters and turned over trucks. It has the center square area that's very action packed, especially when playing domination or hardpoint. And it has many different entry points which makes it less predictable. It's a map where I can play extremely well in or do really poor out. Yet I have no issues going back there time and time again to try and improve my skills. It's a map that's good for SMGs but also offers some good spots if you're a sniper. It really accommodates for varying playstyles and it has a good balance between player skill and strategy. It's also a map where most of its areas are being used and made full use of. Skyline is a pretty cool map. Although if you go against experienced players you will end up losing since this map can be quite predictable at times. It has many layers and it takes time to get good at this map, which is a positive since that makes you want to go back to it so you can get better. To this day, Skyline still has areas I never use, like that security, private room area that some players take. I have no idea when to take that route even. Again, this map has a good balance between strategy, skill and mixing up your playstyle. It has plenty of jump spots and dive spots, which makes for epic kills if you are good at reading the game. The map easily accommodates all the game modes, and no wonder it is part of ranked play. So for me, I will have Subsonic in 8th and Skyline in 7th. And now it's time to start with our top 6. But before I tell you which map has ranked in 6th place, you have to promise that you will not shout at me. Once I tell you the name of this map, I'm sure a lot of you will freak out, but I will explain my reasoning. In 6th place we have Lowtown. Yes, you heard and saw correctly. I have ranked Lowtown in 6th. The map has a different feel to it. It's more realistic. It has the most layers of all the maps. It has water, it has second floor balconies, second floor sniping positions, it has a zip line to pull you up, or you can take a dive and reach another secret area. It has multiple bridges and a crazy number of routes one can take. It favors most weapons, but it's just a bit too big with many areas that are not used unless it's used for a specific game mode like Hardpoint. I think most players do not like it simply because it is just too big. Creativity and layout gets a 4 because this map is definitely not just designed like a square with some obstacles thrown into it. It gets a 4 just because it's such a big map and some areas just never get the gunfights. Because of this, the fun factor is reduced since you can get spawned out all the way on the edge and it can take some time to get back to the action, which can be frustrating at times. Especially if you are in a very close match. Strategic factor gets a 3 because I think the balance has shifted too much towards strategy, so someone with good map and spawn knowledge will dominate here. Multi-dimensional gets a full 5, it has ground levels, water, under the water routes, bridges, zip lines, and all the things mentioned earlier. I'm sure if you give it some thought, you might just agree that this map deserves 6th place. Our 5th place finisher is Vorkuta. Vorkuta is a solid map that scored multiple 4 ratings and 1 3 rating, which makes it overall a solid map. It doesn't feel like it's just a map that's been slapped together without thought. It's quite a large map which benefits assault rifles and good snipers. The map has various interesting sections, however a lot of these areas don't see a lot of gunfights. The main gunfights happen mainly in the hub area. Only if you play Hardpoint or Domination, the gunfights will happen in different areas. It's a map that combines skill and strategy very well. It does feel like the map is slightly too big, but I think it's because some areas don't get much action. With many different running routes and lines of cover, this map is great for mixing up your strategy if something isn't working. You have options. It also has a good multi-dimensional rating since areas of this map are high, some low, you have buildings where you can climb up a level, and some buildings you have interesting features that makes playing on this map fun, like in the warehouse and Tippler area. If more action happened in these areas, it would be lots of fun. It's a solid map that has character and it makes sense. Vault is another square map but much larger. Although it does have some good elements to it like the bottom vault and pool area and the double story buildings where you spawn at. And on the outside it offers various strategies and playstyles. I'm not so good at reading spawns yet, but somehow on this map I have a pretty decent grasp of it. Although that is compared to my standards. It can feel like a large map, however you are never far away from the action. You might ask, how does this map rank so much higher than Hacienda when they have extremely similar layouts? The reason is that even though Hacienda is very similar, you are mainly going to use the same areas to play at. It will always be mid, using both floors, rock and Lambo. The shed is only used when the game modes take you there. With Vault, you end up using those additional outside areas much more often regardless of game modes. They are actually being utilized. The map is not too big or too small, it has a good balance between chaos and strategy. You can play using multiple different weapons and it accommodates all game modes without any overlap. It doesn't feel squeezed in. And that's why I have it 4th place. Finally, we made it to our top 3 maps. Making this video made me realize that I still have a lot to learn when it comes to Call of Duty. I also realized that it is extremely difficult to do a map ranking video with over 30 maps. The general feel about Black Ops 6 maps is that they are not very good. But let's see who made it into our top 3 and which map is our winner. In third place we have Protocol. Protocol has many layers to it with multiple routes and lines to run and cover. It's no wonder that Hardpoint can be so competitive on this map. Most maps in Black Ops 6 are just square maps with distractions thrown around, as I've mentioned many times in this video. At least Protocol seems to have a very specific layout that accommodates many different player styles, gun selections and game modes. It is quite a large map if you take into account the upper levels, the enormous ground level and the 2 underground routes that one can take. Action is never far away and this map definitely challenges your skill and strategy as a player. This is a fun map to play and you can keep going back to it to try new things and to improve on your gameplay. There's a lot to do here compared to a map like Stakeout or Racket, where there's only so much one can do to win if you are behind. In second place we have Firing Range. It has multiple layers. There are places where you are actually safe and you can't be fired at from all 360-degree angles. The map is more suited for AR and sniper players. A good sniper can be extremely annoying on this map. It's fun to play, it has multiple different lines and strategies you can play. I did once face an iridescent player on this map and he ran through us. It was crazy to see, which makes me think this map can be quite predictable. But as for me, I find it less predictable, which makes it less boring. I find this map less generic and it makes logical sense. Action is never far away and most areas of this map is being used and used a lot. Gameplay remains interesting on this map and you have to be on your guard because a sniper is never far away. The reason this map doesn't win is just because it mainly suits ARs and snipers. You also need to be able to shoot lasers with its long ranges between buildings. But the buildings offer good coverage, multiple entry points and multiple lines of sight. Action is never just focused towards one area of the map, it's generally a good and fun map to play. It has the perfect balance between chaos and strategy. Overall, this is just a playable and enjoyable map. And the winner for best Black Ops 6 maps is... To me, this map is so much fun and interesting to play. For a small map, there's lots to do. It can sometimes come very close to being too chaotic, but then it balances out again. The map has 2 backspawn areas, the main bridge area, and then a big ground area with decent coverage, but wide enough for AR players to have some fun. Then in other areas, it is perfectly suited for SMG players while still having some nice spots for a sniper. The map is the perfect size, suits all player styles and weapons. The map is quite predictable, however, it's not that small where the enemy can just chill around your spawn points and take you out constantly. It takes some time for them to arrive, which gives you a chance to survive. Diving off the bridge also makes for great fun and you can catch your enemies by surprise if you time it right. I haven't played Hardpoint or Domination here yet, but I'm sure you can easily find 4 hardpoint spots for this map without it feeling squished in. I can imagine that one hardpoint can be under the bridge and defending or attacking it can both be equally challenging. Compared to other maps of this size, I believe this map has a lot more diversity to offer. For me, the only reason this map beats Firing Range is because it suits more variety for gun selection and playstyles. And there you have it, my top maps in Black Ops 6. Now, some of you might have realized, but I didn't include Haven or Grind into any of these lists. Now, I have to confess something. Due to all the maps in this game, I ended up forgetting about them. But to be fair, I think only Haven could have really challenged one of the top 10 maps to actually be in the top 10. Would it place in the top 3 or the top 6? I'm not so sure, but nonetheless, that map has not been included, but maybe in the future I will make another video like this. I also didn't include our newest maps, Fringe and Eclipse, into this video simply because they are very new releases. They're only a couple of days in and I've never played them. Let me know in the comments if you've enjoyed this video and which map you have as the winner.